and welcome to this channel ramblings, for want of a better term. So yes, I've been off the air effectively for about a year, I guess now, maybe slightly longer. People have been asking why. So main reason is I needed to take up some interstate work, so I was doing a lot of traveling, and most of the time I was away, and with a laptop that's not really capable of doing any recording. So it more or less became impossible to keep any coherent series running. So yeah, that's why. Obviously now things are slightly different again, and I'm back with my desktop for some unknown period. Um, so, channel ramblings, yes. Well, that's why there's been nothing. I have been able to do some modding stuff, which has been good. I'm currently sitting in my the base that I did the I don't know if you've seen my video necessarily on the TSM Outpost Builder, but this is the same base. It's designed around the concept of being a 4K base done fairly quickly, although as I'm using the space for everything from um, testing all of my mods, developments, it's taking a lot longer than perhaps it really needs to. Let me do some sort of base-like work while I chat, because I want to progress this space. I'd actually kind of like to finish it and maybe even release it for what it's worth. It's not necessarily the greatest base on the planet, but it's a good base nonetheless. It follows some different paradigms to what most people do with their bases. I've moved away a little bit from the idea that trains need to have to go backwards and forwards everywhere they go. Oh, we need these guys on, don't we? I've also moved away a lot from doing that. It's not so necessary anymore. Or that, but sometimes it is necessary. So yeah, it's basically a 4K base. It's built around a train paradigm, so basically all these builds are direct to train. This is smelting. Direct to train. I'm using this wider chest, merging chest mod that lets you make a steel chest turn into two. As far as I'm concerned, that's basically the same as putting a car there. You can fit a car in a 2x1 space, so that's basically the same as squeezing in a car there and just loading into the backside of a car and then loading into the furnace. So I'm not using these. Actually, no, I'm lying. I am using these in a bigger way. Down here at the launching facility, I think I allowed my... Is it the launching? No, it's this one here. Chests. There we go. These are basically 3 of my 2x1 chests right next to each other, and in the end I thought, does it really make that much difference? Why don't I just let it be a 2x3 chest? So there's that. I'm letting it be a 2x3 chest. So yeah, channel ramblings. Some people, quite a few people actually, given that my channel's not exactly that big, but quite a few people have actually been asking for a new series. And so I'm kind of putting it out there. What would you like to see in a new series? I mean, I don't know how long we have got. There are some ideas I have that, you know, probably may not even work very well as a series, like maybe I should do C-Block. But on the other hand, I'm not sure how entertaining C-Block is, given how slow it is to get going, and basically you're in for a 300 to 500 hour playthrough, and who's going to watch episode 255 of an ongoing series? I kind of wonder. Maybe an Angel Bob, or even just a Bob on dry land. I actually played quite a lot of bobs back in the day. Version 13, I played quite a lot of bobs. I did a 60 rocket per minute or 1 rocket per second launch at that time, basically belt based, which was, I mean, everybody else was barely struggling to do 1 rocket per minute in vanilla, of course. So me doing 1 a second was, I thought, a fairly big deal. It was when productivity in silos interfered with, there was a bug that interfered with the animation. So instead of taking sort of, or however long it took, the actual animation part that you couldn't reduce regardless of how much faster you made the silos go, went for like twice as long with this bug. So instead of needing 60 or 61 silos to achieve this feat, I actually needed 80. And that is actually on my channel, but version 13 of Factorio, so it's dated, and probably my recording equipment is dated as well, so I'll give you that warning if you wanted to check it out. But yeah, so maybe C-Block, maybe Angel Bob on land, maybe K2, but there are a lot of people doing K2 at the moment. We don't just necessarily want to follow the crowd. We don't have to do a modded series. I'd quite like to actually finish this base off. It's by no means finished. It does have, like, this silo is fully supplied and able to operate. There's 5 because you need more than, you basically need an extra silo up until 60 science per minute. You need 61 silos, and if you go beyond that, you'll need an extra silo due to animation time. There's nothing you can do about that. This is vanilla I'm talking about, vanilla speed that you can achieve, but the animation does not get sped up by speed modules. And just to show you, you know, I've got a train here sitting with, I actually moved it before it was completely full, but it's got 666,000 exactly. Well, not exactly, but 666,000, and I've got another 121,000 science just sitting here. So yeah, I mean, that's the train that gets filled by the silos up there. There's actually another silo here which isn't going to need to run anytime soon. It's actually disabled. Sorry, let's go back to it. It's disabled if the science in here is above a certain point, which it probably is, so it's not loading satellites in because it just doesn't need to. And then I've got this is the original belt base. I've got science here that, yeah, the yellow is not quite enough to keep all of these. There's only like 20, but what are we doing? Oh, over 5 seconds. That's over a minute. Actually, that's slightly slower than I was expecting. What's 10 minutes? 160 odd. I thought it was more like 180. 170, 180 that it does, but maybe the yellow really is a bit slower than that. But anyway, it's just ticking over, and that's fine. Long ago, the resources for the space, I mean, here's like the stack for iron, and the iron used to be here, or here or something. As you can see, it's long dried up. There's the steel. I actually decided to ship some steel from way over here, and we're slowly burning through this. That's just a top up. We're actually shipping it in via our trains anyway. But one thing I've noticed with version 18 is that my old paradigm of like 3 belts of iron and 1 belt of steel doesn't really hold true anymore. I think you need admittedly these are blue, but basically 4 belts of iron and 2 belts of steel. So you still use a ton of iron, but a lot of it goes straight into steel. This must be because we're just about out. We do have a train on the way. I think this means it's close. Yeah. So yeah, I've got TSM topping us up. We don't have a lot of mods in this. We do have that chest mod. We have TSM. We have a water mod. Yeah, that should strengthen this line a little bit. We've got the water mod I've been using a lot of, which just basically lets you take water into an assembler and turn it into something that you just pour on the ground, and miraculously you can then use that as though there was water there all along. I might move away from this mod and go to the explosive version. That's probably a more reasonable concept, but this is the one I'm using at the moment. So yeah, we've got that science going. That's why we're up to mining productivity 25. It's going fairly slowly. But our main factory is up here. As I say, the space science for 4K a minute is sorted. Absolutely sorted. We have we have plenty of low density structures here. We have it's just another one of my iron mines. We have the rocket fuel for it there, and where do we do the other things? What's this guy? Oh, that's for satellites, I think. Precursor for satellites, and then we do satellites in here. And where am I doing? It's one other thing we need, right? It's batteries for satellites. That's the solar stuff for satellites. Oh, here. Here. So this is the rocket control units. They're up here. So that, I mean, that part is set up. So that's in many ways perhaps the hardest part. So I'm now working kind of backwards through the sciences. I'm not going to do military. I don't have any biters on this map. So I'm just doing yellow, purple, blue, green, and red. Starting with yellow. So I'm starting doing that here. So we've got a second green setup. I'm building a red setup here. We have an existing red setup, which is this one. I'm basically just going to double the size of this one and have it here. The low density structures are already sufficient, but I do need to build flying robot frames. So the idea is red goes here, then another blue stack goes here. We have blue already, but we need blue. Let's just see what this one does. Control N. So that's 1900. The rocket silo needs 2400. So we're actually slightly short of blue to maintain our 4K a minute. And then yellow needs 1900. This facility does 1900. I guess maybe I need to do a slightly larger facility. What does just 2 of these do? Let me check. Control N. So if we had that come in, that by itself is 900. Yeah. So if I just extended it by effectively, you know, one more build, we should have enough for this one and yellow science. So how does this build work? Well, you see all the rail lines are just single. It's basically, to the best of my knowledge, the issues that they used to have with loops don't exist anymore. So there's a ton of loops here, effectively. There's a loop that goes up, well, through there, but there's also another loop. Here's a way around it that goes through there. Then there's a bigger loop that comes up around here, down here, and if you need to, you can loop out along here and all the way around here and back around. You can also, this is actually a double, this is the only thing that's a double lane that comes up here to the nuclear facility, which is where we're making power, because I think they've fixed nuclear probably as well as they can, and it's so much more interesting than building a big solar field, so I'm going to run this with nuclear. And so on and so forth. So it's basically you go clockwise, and as you go clockwise, for example, you make your copper, then you make something that uses the copper, green circuits, then you make something that uses the green circuits, red circuits, then you make something that uses the red circuits, blue circuits. So the flow of the trains is all sort of clockwise. Sure, some of them take a while to get all the way back round. However, it's very rare that they need to stop at intersections and wait for traffic crossing the line because of this build. Now, you'd never do this in real life because you've got to pay for the real estate, and it's much cheaper just to have two lines right next to each other than one line up here and pay for that strip of land, and one line like that in real life, pay for that strip of land. But in Factorio, where you own all the land, especially when you've got rid of the biters, so you don't even have them, it doesn't matter. So that's not a consideration. So this design, we'll see how it goes. I think I've built myself a little bit tightly in places. Like here is a little bit tight, but we'll build around it. The other thing, of course, is with a train build, you get this sort of situation where, I mean, these areas, you can tell that the train has completely stripped it bare. And this was a decent facility. Admittedly, we've used more than a third of it, but you can tell the line of ore used to go up there. So I've had to move this train back a few times, plus this one back. This one actually needs to be moved back now, so I guess we'll do that soon. But to try and keep this going, and to use up all this ore at the side, which is too short for a train to fit on, I have, where this one has completely died, I might be able to move it back once more, but it wouldn't really help that much. So I am feeding ore in from this part. I don't have the same sort of opportunity to do that for the next one. So if that gets particularly scarce, I may have to pull that one out altogether. And certainly this one here would seem to need to have to go out right now. But yeah, I mean, you'd normally think, well, it was about 180 million. It was a good ore patch. What's this, 207? This one's holding up a little bit better so far with a couple of hacks. So this one is supported by this one. But really, this internal area is too close to our starting area, and so probably not a grand idea to have direct train feed on them. I mean, trains, the thing is, you can kind of see that this side is all burnt out because there's no prioritization here. As far, I'm using a very simplified mechanic for pulling into here because you can't, they're always ready for a train. If they're open, they're ready for a train. And so the shortest path is to go up here and then go up here. So if this one's empty, the train goes in here. So to get them over here is a lot harder. Why is this one not? Are you serious? Oh, you're empty as well. There's more issues with this ore than I thought there were. So you're probably going to have to be pushed down. It's probably the best bet. Push you down. Way down here somewhere. If we can. We kind of run out of space beyond about one, so we can't go particularly far. But yes, that's what we're going to have to do. and then maybe supplement with some ore on belt. When you get out a bit further, you get more reasonable things like 600 million, which should survive a while, or 2.6 billion. Even this one, 794 million. Although, oh, we are missing modules on that. Now, and we're missing miners. That's a double problem. It probably hasn't actually been used that much. They probably just used these. But so, yeah, that brings me to talk about this guy as my outpost builder. So basically, my outpost builder lets you turn all of these Roboport zones, construction zones, into effectively one interconnected one by using trains from special ME stops, like here. So what happens is any of these, if there's a demand, will signal the demand into this special combinator, fill up this train. Train will run out to wherever it's needed, dump exactly what's needed, or extremely close to it, and bots will then build everything for you. But I don't know how easily it is to see this, but as you can see, the build zone does not quite include this area. So you do, when you have such an issue, you do have to consider the need to come back and manually bot like a tiny bit there, which is what we're going to have to do. So for some reason, Neko Angelus, I need to go to Neko Angelus then. Let's sort that out. Let's get a train up there. I'll get my build train, I'll just tell it to go up there. So I'm currently at this one. That'll mean it will just wait for me. But getting back to series ideas, so there's those two, or those three that I've already suggested, which are modded examples. I kind of want to finish this map because it's basically vanilla, and I can then flick it out to people so they can perhaps learn a little bit more about how to use TSM and the add-ons, see how they work. And there are more than one add-ons. There's another add-on I've got as well. How can I show that one easily? So under the TSM tab, normally you just have these train supply manager, and these, the fluid and the raw ores. So this one here is from TSM icons, and these are empty trains for other products. So we have some of the intermediaries, we have the circuits, we have the plates, we have modules, we have science with the empty train symbols. That gives you a bunch of additional symbols, particularly useful if you use the empty trains paradigm within TSM. We want to jump on this one, and we wanted to go to, let's see if I can remember, we wanted to go to Necro Angelus, so let's get rid of you, let's add Necro Angelus. Player present, and I'll jump out just before we get there. Now, this is the only thing, we're already so far around, it's probably going to be quite a... Oh. Yeah, it's going to be quite a journey back, but that's okay. Let me have a sip of my wine while we go on this little journey. So, speaking of other possible series that may not be quite as long, I'm also contemplating maybe doing like a marathon death world for something completely different. More or less vanilla, except put it on marathon. Because, oops, do I have modules? I don't think I do. Do I have any modules in here? No. I do have these guys though. So let's run into the middle and lay the are you actually there already? I do have them, so yes, it must be. So it's just missing speed modules. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. So if I put this within range of the construction range, I could just make this robot come here, but because it's so few, I don't think it's worth moving something to put this into construction range. So we know that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 3. We need 24 speed modules. So here's something I can do. I can get rid of that. Go back, but that's okay. Constant combinator. I want 24 speed modules, right? So let's go here and say, give me 24 speed modules. And connect that via green wire to here. And there's a little message here saying this has been added to the build queue. It means it's now appeared up here. There's my 24 that have been ordered. If we go and have a look at the train, so it's returning to here, and it's coming in right now. We'll wait here for a moment because there's nothing to pick up here. And then it will go to this one, which is also another special stop. It's just down here. This is my module stop. And it will pick these up and it will come back to us. Saves us going somewhere. We could be doing something else now if there was something useful for us to do. And you can see this has dropped to 0, so off it comes. So yeah, finishing off this base would be a nice thing to be able to do. And it probably wouldn't take all that long. I mean, I'm doing the hard science first, but there you go. The other thing that I might like to do is revisit my SpaceX Extreme. This is now going to clear, and we can get rid of that because it's not going to be needed anymore. Now the only problem with this is it's going to have dropped speed modules basically in every single it's very hard to get a low number exactly, so I've actually over supplied slightly, but that doesn't matter. Is that it? Are they all done now? No way through. Well, it looks like it. So let's just run with that. Okay. Now, where's this thing? Is this here? Yes, it is. No, it's not. That's somewhere totally different. We are over here. It's way over there. Okay. Well, I suppose I've given you a few ideas. Maybe there's something else that's interesting to do out there as well. I am still working on a few mods that need to get done. So, and I don't know how long this is going to run for, so I'm interested in what you think. It's not a democracy. I'm not necessarily going to follow the most popular choice, but I am curious to know what you guys would like to see. So, yeah, let me know in the comments, and maybe I can get a series up and happening again. Perhaps. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and yeah, that's about it. See you guys later. Bye bye for now.